Hi, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself for us?
Yes, my name is Stephanie Molina. And I'm here with you today.
Welcome. So, can you go ahead
Thanks.
and tell me a little bit about your childhood?
Well, coming from, of course, a Mexican home, with a full-blown, Catholic father, Catholic beliefs, my grandma, a marriage, right? Two people fall in love and they create a family without knowing what is to come. I guess no, you don't, you get married, you have your kids, create your family, and it's more like, okay, and then what? Not saying, oh, they didn't know or whatever, but like it's like, you create a family and then you're on a path. Which path it is, we don't know. I am the middle child. I have two other siblings, both boys. Um, Relationship with my brother is amazing. Growing up, I remember parts of it, and I think it's more kind of like, and the more I read it, it's kind of more like a traumatic response where you don't quite remember a lot. I remember growing up in a home with both parents working. It was at first it was just me and my older brother. He was always very attentive. Like my older brother was always like, "Oh, my little sister, I'm gonna take my sister here with me. My sister's going with us. It's my sister." And then came my younger brother. At this point, I remember we were living in a house. It was our house. We had several family members that also lived there. We were kind of like the party house. We had lots of, family reunions, and just people in general were always at our house. Um, like I mentioned earlier, coming from a marriage where both parents work, um, as we grew older, it always was like, okay, well, who is gonna watch the kids? Where are we taking the kids? At this point, it was just me and my younger brother. My older brother was, I guess, living his life, teenage life, high school, whatever. And we were being left at not daycares, but babysitters. Who these people were, I don't know. It was just like a random person or random phone number my mom found at a lavanderia. Oh, we take care of kids and blah, 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 blah. So that's where we were most of the time that I remember. And by we, I mean me and my little brother.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I know you said that your parents would leave you anywhere. Uh, by the way, Stephanie's a good friend of mine, so we kind of talked about this already, but I was molested as a kid because my parents left me with a so-called trusted family member, right? So did you ever go through that because they left you with a lot of people?
Yeah, with random strangers, yes, it did happen. And um, at that age, I didn't know. Like I didn't know. Well, I thought it was normal, I guess, because as much as it would happen. Yeah, so I at this point I'm thinking it's normal, it's happening constantly. And it all started, I remember back in the day that whole WWE thing was like a trend. So everybody wanted to be a WWE wrestler. We were watching it Saturday Night Live or whatever it was. And when we were there, um, this was an older lady that lived with her daughter and her daughter's husband. They had a teenage son and they had a kid that was probably around my little brother's age at that point. I would say maybe 4 or 5. Um, so it all started with the teenager, maybe like a preteen, 12, 13 years old guy, started wrestling with his little brother. And we would sit there, me and my brother were like, no, like we know better than to rough play like that or play like that. So then I remember one time, um, He tried to like somewhat grab my brother by his neck and like body slam him, but in a gentle way. To me, I was like, no, you're not gonna touch my brother. I stood up for my little brother, and I was like, if you're gonna do anything, do it to me. And I'm thinking I'm protecting my brother from getting injured or from getting hurt, not knowing I was giving myself up in a way that I didn't realize was not a wrestling way. So then, la señora, la viejita, la que nos cuidaba, um, she had this boyfriend, and she would walk away in the, it was probably like 11, 12 at night, where she'd be like, oh, I'll be back. And it was me being left alone with all these kids. And the teenager was there. And in one of those nights when she stepped out, like he kind of lures me into his room. It was a 2-story like townhome thing, and of course my baby brother's asleep, all the other kids. Yeah, so just very inappropriately, like things start happening, and it didn't get to that point where I actually did anything, but it was it was it was bad. It was bad. I thankfully, I don't know, again, God, because I know it was a bigger man, bigger boy than me, and I'm sitting there thinking this is normal, it's not normal, and it didn't happen, but of course other things did. And I'm so glad I'm out of there. There is one thing though I do want to share, how I know there was evil in that house. Again, this would be in the middle of the night, where me and the babysitter, la viejita con todos los niños, were there. And obviously, I guess her daughter and her family had stepped out, and it happened multiple times. There was nobody there. And again, like I mentioned, it's a 2-story apartment complex, townhome. And again, there's nobody there. It's just me, the babysitter, and all the kids. And se escuchaba on the second floor, like in that same apartment, en donde arriba, where all that stuff was happening constantly. There was like you can hear a bull up there. Things were being slammed, things were being thrown in that room. And you can literally hear how like a toro, like the bull, you know how when he starts getting mad, he starts kicking his feet up. Like he's just like agarrando como like las like about to, attack somebody. You can hear how a toro up there would slam around, run, beat on the floor. And I remember going up there with the babysitter, and that room would be totaled, and there was nobody there, like literally nobody there. So then we would come back down all scared, and we'll start praying, like she'll start praying and like sprinkling holy water, and it would stop. But then again, like we'll knock out waiting again on my mom. Like my mom would come pick us up like at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and it would happen again. It'll start, and it'll start on the parents' room. And I remember in the parents' room, when you would walk in, they had like a blanket on the wall, and it was La Virgencita. La Virgin Mary was on there. And one of those times that we went up there and everything was like a mess, there was this bright shining. Like I remember this, I don't know where that light came from. It wasn't on. But when we walked in that room, it was a mess everywhere. And the light was shining on that manta that they had on the wall. And I remember when I saw that, like I was so freaking scared. I was so scared because I was like, who would mess everything up? But then they turn, why is that light shining on her? Why is everything a mess and that light is on there, literally like just shining on her? That was it. Like, I don't remember. I remember crying to my mom and telling her I no longer want to go there. Like, I don't care if you have to leave me at home with my brother. I'll take care of him. I will take care of him. Leave me at home by myself. I don't know how it flipped to where like we were no longer going to that lady. Like I never heard from her. We never heard from each other. Y ahí quedó. Y yeah, like that was my story when I was being left alone with this family. And like, just like how I don't remember what else happened, that's how I don't remember how we stopped going there. I don't remember when it was that we stopped going there. But it was a while that we were stuck being left at this house with this. I was very free spirited. Again, my parents constantly working. My house was down the street from our school. Um, I never went to school. I was, of course, being around a lot of people that I grew up really fast, being exposed to different things, peer pressure, wanting to be cool. Yeah, that everything that you can think of in the book, I've probably I probably went through my teenage years. Again, like I said, by growing up way too fast and just wanting to be that person, wanting to be that people pleaser because I wasn't getting enough attention from the people that were supposed to give it to me. Wanting to be around these people that somehow cared more about me than the people I was living with. I was spending literally Sunday through Saturdays, 24/7. I was with these people. Don't get me wrong, like the friends that I made, some of them I still talk to, some of them I don't, which is part of life, you know. There's a reason why. Being exposed to different environments, having these boyfriends that I thought I was gonna be forever with, and again, just realizing how much I was hurt. How many times I was so close to to dying. Like, it's crazy. I was lost. I was lost growing up as a teenager. And it didn't take me much after graduation. Of course, when I had my first child, but that's another part. But yeah, partying, drugs, alcohol, not going to school, barely graduating, hurting my parents. I remember at one point I came home so messed up, and everything that happened to me in my early age, like I remember just telling my mom, you know, I will never forgive you for doing that to me. I will never forgive you for leaving us with these people that you didn't even know what was happening. Like, you don't realize how much we were being hurt. Not much my little brother, because I remember standing up for him. I don't remember that they did anything to him, and I hope that they didn't. But me, I know for a fact that it was hard. Um, that's during my teenage years. That's when I met. Well, my brother introduced my sister-in-law, his wife. When I was getting in so much trouble, when I was like really going through a downfall, she was there, and she would always, you know, guide me and talk to me and pray with me. And every time she would pray with me, like, I just remember crying. Like, it was kind of like every time she gave me a prayer, she was cleansing me. I felt it. And to this day, I still do. I love my sister-in-law. To this day, I still do. But literally, like, I remember going through everything I was going through. Like, my mom, I guess, would talk to her, and she'll come up randomly and she'll talk to me. She'll pray with me. She'll listen to me. And I'm just barely getting to know this woman. And, you know, she's there. She's there. And, you know, as time passes by, like, little by little, I remember her being one of the few people who actually pushed me on letting a lot of stuff go during those years.
Shout out to that sister.
I was 20 when I got pregnant, and then I had him when I was 21. And that right there, it was a lot that happened. I'm not going to go into full details, but um I was basically a single mom. I didn't want, you know, just a lot of issues going that were happening with my kid's father. It was something that couldn't happen. Like, it was something that we couldn't do together. So we left it at that. Again, I'm sitting here raising my son by myself, but I'm still seeing this person, like this man is still in our life somehow. And we proceed, you know, I'm growing. Like, when I had my kid, that was a whole turnaround. That was a whole change. Like, if I had already stepped out a few of my tribulations that I was going through as a teenager. When I had my son, it was like, I'm done. That's it. It's me and my son against everybody, against everything. And that's how it was. Um, yeah, there were times where I was like, what's gonna happen? Why me? Like, I'm sitting there questioning why me. I'm sitting there questioning if I'm if I'm loved enough by God. I'm sitting there questioning myself, like, what's gonna happen. Um, it was hard, but we got through it with my first son. We got through it. Thankfully, by then my parents were more than willing to help me. My brothers, again, my sister-in-law, they played a very important part of raising my son as a single mom when he was younger. Um, Fast forward, eventually, me and my son's father, we end up being together to form something out of all three of us, like out of me, my son, and him. We eventually tied a knot, oh, we're married, move into, that's the only way my dad was gonna let me out of my house. Even though I already had a kid. Can you believe that? Like, my dad was like, no, 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 te tienes que casar, porque, la religión, no es algo debido de Dios, si no te casas, no te puedes salir de la casa. Okay, Dad, I said, I had a whole kid. But anyways, so we're sitting, we get married. I leave my house. Who would have known that by me signing a simple sheet of paper gave this man all the rights to do whatever he wanted with me? That's how I saw it. Of course, moving together, we're so in love, and the honeymoon stage of, whoop-de-doo, get up every morning, cook, wash, clean, whatever, do whatever I had to do for my husband. It only lasted, I kid you not, maybe 8 months into it. No, I'm lying. Maybe about 6 months into it, where he thought it was okay to put his hands on me. This is probably the most pain that I've ever felt, because my brothers, my father, nobody had ever done that to me. And it got to the point where it got to the point where I was basically being told that I'm old now, and that I have no type of rights of speaking up. I have no type of rights on defending myself. I have no type of rights to my son. I have no type of rights to anything. I ended up getting pregnant a second time by this man. And, oh, I'm pregnant, okay. He's not gonna do it again. And I was wrong. I was being beat pregnant with my second child. And last that I remember when that happened is that he's on top of me, and he tells me, like, literally straight to my face, I don't care. I don't care if you're pregnant or not. I'm still gonna beat your. Okay. So I don't know what got into me. This is how this is how little by little I noticed that I was never abandoned. I was never like, yes, Diosito te aprieta, pero nunca te ahorca. I don't know how I did it, but I got so much strength in my body, my pregnant body, because I was pregnant, very, very, very pregnant. Um, I ended up just pushing this 6'2", probably 200-pound man off of me, and I pushed him off of me. I remember grabbing my child, because my child was sitting there watching all of this, and grabbing my child, my phone, and running myself to the restroom. And I turned on the water. And in the restroom, I'm sitting there praying. And my son is in the shower, in the bath, taking a bath. I locked the door and I'm sitting there like praying. I'm sitting there praying my way, praying the way I feel connected to something. What it is, I don't know, because at this point, I don't know that there's something out there. I don't know that there's someone. I didn't know that there's somebody there for me. But I'm praying. And I remember not wanting to do what I did, but while my son was in there, I called the police and I told him what was happening. And all I remember is hearing the front door slam. So I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. So I locked the front door, I locked everything, and I'm still on the phone with the police. He had left, he took the keys to everything, he had left. And while I'm sitting there with the police came like, and like they came so fast. I'm sitting there like asking myself, like, who else do I need to call? Who do I need here? Who I can't tell my mom. I can't tell his parents. I can't tell nobody else. Like, who I called my brother. And when I say my brother got there probably as fast as the police did, my brother was there. He picked me up, and that's the day. We waited for him to come back. We waited for him to come back. He didn't. But while we were leaving, he was pulling up and the police were already there. So they took him. They took him. Once we found out that they took him, like we went back to the house, I grabbed my stuff. And in that time, his parents lived in the same apartment complex. So his brother comes over and he's like, I'm going to need you to remove the charges from my brother. Go take my brother out of jail. How can you do this? You have 2 kids by him. He loves you. And I'm falling for it because, of course, at this point, this is my husband. This is the father of my kids. This is the man I own, that I live here with. How can I do that? How am I so mean to this person? Not knowing, not realizing what he had done to me. Like, I'm still confused about it. Like, how am I supposed to do that? What am I gonna do to my kids, my what's going on? I didn't know what to do. So I remember my brother telling me, so like, if you do that, everything that we just did for you, no cuenta para nada. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna do nothing for him. Y'all go take care of him. Y'all go pull him out of jail. Y'all do what y'all have to do. He left, grabbed a few of my things, and I left over to my mom's. When I got home, when I got back to my parents' house, I remember being so mad and telling my dad, is this what you wanted me to get married for? Is this what you wanted? Cultural rules? Is this what you wanted? Religion, beliefs? Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? And my dad didn't tell me anything. My dad is a very short man of words. Like, no va a decir nada. Like, he's just like, okay, he's internally, like, I know he's mad. I know I know he's mad, sad. He's feeling for me, but he's not going to tell me. So then, of course, my mom gets there. What's going on? I had to tell him. I was like, and it's not the first time that it's happened. This man has been beating me, and I haven't said anything. The only people I told something to was his mom, and his mom told me not to tell you guys because I was only going to make it worse. And look, here I am now, and I'm pregnant again. And I just got my ass beat. Like, I just got beat up. And my mom, everybody was so mad. You better not pick up the charges. You better leave them in there. I'm pregnant. Maybe I was living at my parents' house. And by the end of that week, he was probably already out of jail. He was out of jail. He was looking for me. And he sent me a text message, like a really long message. And he's all like, it's for the better. I'm going to go ahead and go over to Nebraska. That's where everything's going to, we're going to start off fresh. And I told him, no, I'm not moving with you. I'm not doing anything. I'm staying here. I'm having my son here. I'm going to be with my family. Okay. Well, he went ahead and he left. And around I don't even so towards the end of my pregnancy, he comes back around. He's like, well, you're coming with me. And I'm sitting there telling my parents, like, I don't want to leave with this man, but this is the father of my kids. He says he's changed. You know what? I love him. He loves me. I'm going to do it. I'm leaving to Nebraska with my husband, with my man, with my kid's dad. And I remember it was the middle of the night. And I had called my brother and my older brother, and I was like, I'm so sorry to disappoint you. I think out of all the people, and I'm never going to forgive myself for this, I hurt my brother the most. Because he had done something for me that day that I called him, and I didn't ever expect, like, I could never see my brother that mad, that upset, that hurt. Because he tried, he grew up taking care of me. He never expected that to happen to me. And when I made that decision to leave, he was very disappointed. He was very disappointed in me. And, I remember not even being able to say bye to my nieces, to my sister-in-law, to the rest of my family. But these people that have been there through everything with me and tried their hardest to protect me, I still went ahead and I did it. Ooh, I had to cry for that, but just thinking of the pain that I caused them. So I ended up moving to Nebraska, and I'm over there by myself. It's a whole new state, a whole new city. I had nobody over there. He had family over there. But at the end of the day, like they say, like their family is always going to be their family. I was by myself. My mom would call me crying, me had come back, bring the kids, like, vente para acá, I'm still pregnant. Like, this pregnancy seems so long, but yeah, I'm still pregnant. And I'm like, no, mom, I have to be here. I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm sorry, but I can't, like, keep going back and forth. This is my husband. No, but, you're going through a lot. You're pregnant. I'm like, it's okay. I'll be fine. So then, one time, he comes home. He comes home and he's drunk. And I'm pretty sure, and he's drug influenced too. He would be on drugs too. So I'm sure at this point he's on it again. He comes home and he's mad. Viene mentando de todo. O sea, todos menos él, right? So then I'm telling him, I was like, don't you dare. Just because we're here by ourselves, don't you dare think that you're going to put your hands on me again. Pues parece que le dije, ándale, hazlo. Boom. He does it. And I'm like, okay. So we're going at it. Like at this, even though I'm pregnant, like I guess from being used to this, I was already like, I'm like, like a tiger or una leon. Like when you try to hurt their kids, like that's the thing though. He never hurt the kids, but I'm pregnant with his son. My son is watching this. Like forget it. I lose my stuff too. Like I'm just going at it with him too. And I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm done with you thinking it's okay to put your hands on me. It's not okay. So we end up fighting, whatever, and I end up pushing him out of the apartment, locked the door. I remember looking for the keys, grabbed all my important documents, grabbed my kid's backpack with a few clothes and food and snacks, and I ran as fast as I could. I don't know where he was. I ran as fast as I could to my car, drove myself to the airport, and got on the plane and flew back to Dallas. I'm here. And, my mom again, my parents are like, again, and when are you going to learn? When is it going to be enough? And I guess at that point, I didn't know when it was going to be enough. And here comes my brother and my sister-in-law just praying over me again. And, and I feel all their prayer, their words, the way that they would tell me the love of Jesus, how he had love for me and my kid and my baby. I'm sitting there confused, like, what do? I can't, well, I came back. My mom planned a surprise baby shower for me. We had my baby shower, and I told him, I was like, it's not ever gonna be the same. Like, I'm not going back there. I'm not doing it again. I went. I left again. Me fui otra vez. Vino por mí. Me fui otra vez. At that point, like, I couldn't be back and forth anymore. Like, I'm sitting here about to have this baby. Like, am I gonna have him in a car, in a plane, on a bus? Like, what am I gonna? Where is he gonna be born at? My second son ended up being born in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm there by myself, raising a baby by myself. Maybe like 2, 3 weeks after we had him, like his family comes to the house. Um, they're sitting there helping me raise, telling me with the baby, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. And hold on. Okay, so this lady has never liked me. This lady never accepted my oldest son. This lady never accepted the fact that I'm married to her son. So when they're sitting there at my house and I'm by myself with a newborn and my husband and my other child, she tried to come at me like she can tell me what she was gonna do. And I told her, you know what, just because I'm here by myself doesn't mean that you can come and do whatever you want with me. I'm good. I don't need your help. You can go back to Dallas for all I care. Bye, lady. Bye. Fuera. Fuera. Well, I ended up kicking them out because it was enough. So when they left, I told them straight up, I was like, you know what? I don't ever want to be around your family again. I'm sitting here by myself. My mom is not here. I don't need your mom here. I'm sitting here by myself. I need my mom and I need my family. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and move back to Dallas. Just hang on a little bit. Hang on a little bit. Okay, whatever. So, I start working. I'm sitting there by myself, so I start working in this whole new state. How I ended up finding stuff, I don't even know. Like, how I ended up being connected to so many people that showed me that they were my family. How, like, I met so many strangers that to this day I'm still friends with because they were so good to me. They were so good to my kiddos. And just, I ended up finding a daycare. They ended up assisting me with childcare. Um, I ended up finding a really good job that I was able to purchase another vehicle. And I didn't need to be using Uber. I didn't need to be using a bus when I was out there by myself because the car that we did have, he took it and he was okay. He was comfortable riding around while I was trying to find a way to get to my job, pick up my kids, and then come back home. Um, that part is there. And then, we kept talking. Like, at this point, it's been a while that he has put his hands on me. So at this point, it's time for us to come back to Dallas. We did what we had to do with the money. We saved up a little bit. It's time to go back to Dallas. We came into an agreement. My parents still were willing to host us, like keep us in their house, in their home until we got back on our feet. Everybody was okay with it. Everybody talked. Okay. The day before we leave from over there, I tell them, if we go back, the moment that you put your hands on me, like, you're out. That's it. I'm decided. I'm strong enough to look at this man in his eyes and tell him, if you touch me again, if you hit me again, I promise you that you're out. No, 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 it's never gonna happen. I love you and my kids. Like, I can never do that to y'all. Okay. Like I said, don't hit me again. We drive back from Omaha to Dallas. That same day that we get to my parents' house, he's all, I'm gonna go to my mom's house and then I'll come back. If you want, I'll take the kids. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll go home. I'll go to my mom's house. I'll shower, rest up a little bit, and then just wait for y'all to get home. Okay, cool. So he goes and that's fine. He's with his mom. He doesn't get to my mom's house until about 11, 12 o'clock at night. And when he does, I can tell he's already on stuff. His entire family does it. His entire family does alcohol, drugs, whatever it is that they do. So I already knew where this was coming from. So he comes back, and my middle one, that's the same name, sorry. My middle one, he's probably like 10 months old, 10 months, don't want to say 10 months. And he goes straight to the room that was our room and lays down with my kid. So I start hearing the baby cry, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make him a bottle. Well, I don't know what happened to where my middle one, I guess, jumped over him or whatever, but I just remember hearing something flat, like literally like flat. And in my mom's house, they have tile floors, so it's a hard floor. When I go in there, it's my middle child on the floor, just like on the floor, literally like laying back with his head. And he was not crying. So when I picked him up, I'm sitting here like hitting him. I'm like, not hitting him, but like spanking him, trying to wake him up. And then he gasped, like he grasped air. And that's when he starts crying. So when that happened, I remember trying to wake him up. I was like, hey, like the baby, and he just like leave me alone. And I was like, oh no. So I start shaking him. I'm like, you just dropped my child. He's like, I didn't do that. Well, this man got up, closed the door to the room, threw me in my closet, and started again putting his hands on me. Well, my baby, I pushed him off of me. I ran to the exit, and I told my mom, I'll be back. I need to take to the hospital. She's like, well, why isn't he? I was like, don't ask me nothing. I'll be back. Literally just after testing. So then we go to the hospital, and I don't know where he's at. I don't know what just happened. I'm not telling nobody. Like I'm not telling nobody what just happened. But I'm here with my kid. My kid just fell off in the room. It was just a whole big deal. So fast forward, I get home the next day because again we're at the hospital. Everything was good with my baby. He was just scared. He comes back. I guess he had left to his mom's, but then he comes back in the morning, opens the door, and he's like, "Oh, y'all get ready. Let's go get breakfast." Didn't bother to ask me what happened. Didn't bother to ask me how was the baby. Didn't bother to ask me nothing. So when that happens, I'm just like, you know what? Get out. Get out. I don't want to see you again. We're done. And just a lot of that, domestic violence. Because even after that, like it still continued until one day I was like, that's enough. That's enough. I'm no longer dealing with you. Um, I'm gonna do what's best for me and my kids. We're done. He ended up taking my vehicle. He ended up taking my wallet, my bank cards. I had cash in there. He ended up taking everything that was in those moving trucks because it was that literally everything happened in that week of us moving back. So we hadn't gotten a chance to take anything out the trucks or anything like that. He took everything, and he would bribe me and tell me, well, you're not getting anything back until you get back with me. You're not doing anything, like nothing that you do will ever be better. Nothing that you ever do will be beneficial for you and my kids unless you get back with me. Nope, I didn't do it. I just remember telling him, you know what, you need to come back because you have very important documents that belong to me. And if you don't come back, I'm suing you. I don't care for the stuff. I don't care for the money. I don't care for the cards. I don't care for anything of that. Bring me back my documents. And he does. He comes back in the moving truck. And as I'm taking down my stuff, and in front of my house, he like body slams me inside the moving truck and starts doing it again. We're going at it. My neighbor comes up with the gun and kicks him out. Get what you need in. My neighbor helps me get my stuff down. How did my neighbor come? Where was he? Like, how did my neighbor realize what was happening? I never knew. Like, I never knew where things will prevent that from going from worse, like going from bad to worse. Like, I don't know. So when that happens, my neighbor's quickly like helping me unload, and I'm unloading and he's not helping me. And my neighbor tells him, you know what, if you come back again, like it's on between me and you. You're not gonna be doing this to her. He leaves, doesn't come back, and that's it. Like that's the end of that, of me ever having to see this man again. Of course I pressed charges, and of course I went all at it with police. I did what I had to do for my kids. Fast forward all of that, I'm sitting there thinking like, I don't want to be dealing with nobody. I don't want nobody dealing with me. I have 2 kids. Like when everything finalized with the kids' dad, he told me straight to my face, like, Nobody's ever gonna want you with 2 kids. You're not loved. You're ugly. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I guess whatever he would tell me, I believed it. I was so naive. I fell into a really bad depression. Fell. I got really really bad, and I just want to hug my sister-in-law right now. Here comes my sister-in-law, mi angelito. Here comes my sister-in-law. And here she goes again praying for me. And I'm sitting here like, what are you praying for? Like, no está sirviendo nada. I'm still sad. But deep down, I knew I felt that cleansing, like the thing that would just pull everything away. And was just like, she got me. She got me. God got me. Um, Fast forward, we're moving. I didn't want anything to do. I'm enjoying the time with my kids. I'm having fun. Um, Enjoying my life after so much stuff that I was being put through, like enjoying life with my kids. I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't looking for anybody to accept me again because I had it in my mind that nobody was ever gonna accept me with my kids. Um, I met my current partner, and it just all kind of like it does this other turn. And we start going out. He's very attentive with my kids, and he hasn't met my kids. Like, I did not want my kids. You know how we hear that these moms these moms, some moms take their kids around different men. I didn't want that. I didn't want people to say that about me. I didn't want my kids to be like, okay, to question like, who is this man, who's that? I'm like, no, you're not gonna do that. So he came around and just started to just he's showing his interest, and from there it was just like boom, like a rocket ship, just straight up. um we end up hanging out more. I started introducing him around, and yeah, it was a done deal then. Obviously he knows my past. He knows what all me and my kids have been through, and he shows, obviously tremendously shows me the opposite on how a man is really supposed to be there for his woman and kids. Here comes a time where we introduce all of each other to each other, like his kids to my kids, each other. Like, it was just it's I don't know, indescribable feeling to feel that you're actually loved and cared for another person. It's an indescribable feeling to see how this man's mom is showing my kids what it's like to have a second grandma. This man's father is showing my kids how it is to have a second grandpa. His sisters, his brother, like showing them that love, showing us that love that we have been longing for with other people. Um So we're there, and obviously, well, now we did have we have our own family now. We call each other Brady Bunch. In total, it's 5 kids. It's his 2 older children, my 2 children, and Julian, my baby. Yeah. So we have our own home, um, and when there was times that I felt like there was nothing there for me, for my kids, God always showed me different. And I'm still sometimes in disbelief on how good he is to all of us, how good he is, not just because you're going through trials and tribulations, but because he's actually there through good and bad. Like, there's not a time that I don't say, when anything happens, like, thank you, God, I know this is you. Thank you for making me feel like I'm not by myself. You've never made me felt that I was by myself. You were always there. And till this day, I feel like that. Um, I'm not, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to say it in words to where it doesn't sound harsh, but slowly, I know I've been building my relationship with God. I've been building my relationship like at my pace, because at times I know that I'm not fully there yet, but the way that things happen, the way that things are being put in place by Jesus, the way that things are being placed in my life, the way that things have been removed and replaced and removed and replaced again, like it's just it's an indescribable feeling. I don't know how. I don't know how I'm dignified of that. I don't know how I'm okay, like how he still chooses to be there for me. And the only that, like, if you sit there and you think about it, the only reason is because we are his daughters, because we are his children, because we are his. And no matter what, like no matter what you go through, no matter what you get, no matter anything, and I'm not, and a lot of people maybe with what I'm saying may take it like, oh, materialistic, or no, I'm not speaking, never speaking about materialistic, but that love, that calmness, that peace that you get once you give yourself, once you start giving yourself a tiny little bit of acknowledgement, a little bit of just realizing that Jesus is there for you, like things have such a drastic change. I'm working on building my relationship even deeper, building my relationship to a point where I wanted to. I just I am
At times we feel undeserving of his love.
undeserving of that love, of everything that he provides. Like, you just don't know what he has already for you. You just don't know what's in the past that he's trying so much to pull you through, but you're not wanting to let go of what you're used to, because that brings you comfort, because that brings you satisfaction, that brings you whatever it is that it brings to you. And he's trying to pull you, you're not trying to let go. But once you let go, even if you start letting go little by little, you'll start realizing, as you go through the path that he wants you to, you'll start realizing, you know what, this is what I want. Okay, let me let go a little bit more. And you start going and you start going. And again, you're pulling, you're tugging, because you're used to what you're used to. You're used to whatever it is. But there's always something, there's always better. There's always that calm, that peace that you feel once you have that connection. Even again, like this, even if I say, like I said, even if it's just a little one, even if you're getting there like I am, because I can tell you right now, like, I'm not fully there yet. I'm not. And it's okay to be honest with yourself, because you're realizing what you need to do. Even it's me sitting here right now, I'm realizing what I need to do. And it's okay. It's okay. Because you'll know when you're ready. You'll know when everything happens, when it's supposed to happen, because it's time. You'll know it.
Stephanie, your testimony is very powerful, and I know that it will touch a lot of women, especially when it comes to domestic violence, because some of us have been victims of this. How would you explain Jesus to others?
Literally, your best friend. Your best friend. There's, without like sounding like disrespectful, no disrespect at all. The one that will always be there. The one that when you feel that you're on the ground and you can't get up, even though you can't see him, even though you can't physically, you can't see him, he is there. That strength that you get, that love, that comfort, that warmness in your body that makes you feel safe, that's him. That's Jesus.